Welcome to My Period Stories with me, Funke Treasures. Good to be back on the show. This is where we talk about menstruation and all issues pertaining to it. We intend to normalize the period conversation. If you're ready for us, let's do this.
Nigeria has 8 clusters of disability that is recognized.
How do you say, are you menstruating?
So you go, you know, you menstruating.
How do you care for those who can't, use pads or tampons by themselves?
For those with physical disabilities, we are advocating for early access to this information. So what happens is that caregivers, there are people who are trained, there are people who are prepared, their caregivers could actually help and bridge that gap. But sometimes also, these caregivers, if they are not informed, they might think that the disability is affecting the hormonal development of that person with disability, and will tell you, no, that meanwhile you are seeing the signs of puberty, which also includes the menstrual flow.
Welcome back to My Period Stories with me, Funke Treasure. We've been talking about girls and women living with disabilities and how they cope with their monthly periods. Our next guest is joining us from Jos in Nigeria. Awashima wasn't born with disabilities, but she found herself having to live with one. And she came highly recommended from her boss, which is why I'm particularly thrilled to have her on the show today. We must say thank you to Kaneng Rampam, who is her boss in Jos. Awashima, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Right. Just before I ask you the very first question, Awashima is a professional counselor, youth leader, social entrepreneur, community mobilizer, and orator, and a disability gender-based violence advocate. She's someone who's passionate about humanity and development. So it's a thrill to have you on the show today. You lost your sight at some point in your journey in life. I remember you telling me that story for 3 days. I was still thinking about it. I'd like you to share your story with us as we start, this conversation. How did you lose your sight? You weren't born like this.
Okay, I lost my sight in the year 2019. That was after I completed my university. I had always been diagnosed with glaucoma. So at the age of 10, so I went for a surgery. The doctors recommended that I should go through a surgery to put a stop to the glaucoma damaging my eyes. So I went for the surgery, and during the surgery, my eyes got damaged, both eyes. So that was early 2019. I'd gone to so many other hospitals to correct the damage, but it was already too late. The damage had already been done. So I had to go for rehabilitation, where I learned to do things like a visually impaired person. And yeah, it was very depressing at that point in time, but I overcame it and here I am.
You overcame it, and here you are. The smile on your face, on your beautiful face, and I'm not patronizing you. You are a beautiful woman. Your smile is so infectious, and the way you've summarized everything, and it just speaks of great courage and the resolve to move ahead in life. Right. So, you're a professional counselor. You're a gender-based violence advocate. You're also a community mobilizer. Talk to us about what you do. Did you get into all of this post losing your sight?
Yes, I think losing my sight was what made me discover myself. I know when I say that, people are always like, why will I say or make such a statement? But it's true. Losing my sight actually made me realize what I was good at. It brought out the skills that I never knew I possessed. So after my rehabilitation program, I did at a school for the blind here in Gindri. It was the first blind school in West Africa. And I did that course for a year. I learned how to operate the laptop, my phone, how to read and write Braille. It was a whole new experience for me, learning from the beginning. Um, but I put my mind to it and I learned it well. So when I was done, I think I got very depressed. And a friend called me one day and he said there's an application that I should apply, I should try it. And it was with an organization called Inclusive Friends Association. And I did. And that was where my journey started. I went for the workshop at Nasarawa, Akwanga. I never knew that there were such programs before. It was a fellowship program, and I became a fellow with Inclusive Friends Association. That was what really exposed me to gender-based violence, especially as a person with a disability. And I think that was for the first time, that was when I actually accepted the fact that, wow, I was not a lady with a visual impairment. The sight had gone and I had to move on. I can't keep holding on to, okay, it will come back. And a lot of people will always tell me, oh, you've lost faith, as a Christian, from a Christian background. They tell you don't have faith, God will bring it back. Why are you giving up like that? But going for that fellowship really changed my life because I met other young persons with disabilities. And in that fellowship really gave me a platform to advocate and amplify my voice to other people, other persons with disabilities that were going through discrimination. And I think I just got passion from that. That was where my journey actually started. I started participating in so many capacity building programs, started building myself up. I realized even though I'm a lady with a disability, once my capacity is built, there's so much I can contribute to the society. Um, I know that the society has put in place so many things that will limit me, but I told myself I wasn't going to just be someone that will just um, be a lady that will just be dependent on the society and my family. I wanted to make something out of myself. So that was actually where my journey started. And even where I work is because of participating in a program. And even my boss got to hear about me from, someone else recommended for a radio program. And it all started with that fellowship program. So yeah.
It's been quite a journey for you. I hear you, and I hear you loudly say that you went into depression at some point. I suppose that would be at a point that fell into the COVID season, because if this happened in 2019, then you just went straight into 2020, all of the COVID season. So, what were you doing with yourself during the COVID season?
Oh gosh, it was terrible. 2020 was actually terrible. And the worst part was I did not really know how to express myself. I couldn't really, my family I'm from a very loving family. My family have always stood by me, have always encouraged me. So I never showed signs of depression. I kept it in because everybody believes I was so strong and I did not want them to think I was weak. So that 2020, I would just keep smiling. And then we're locked up at home with my siblings. My siblings were really there for me. Mostly, I think it was at night when it really used to hit me. I had phobia. I developed phobia for the darkness because after I lost my sight, I could see just like very, very faintly a little light. So I had phobia for the dark. In the daytime, I could be smiling, but when everybody else is sleeping, I have two sisters, so we sleep in the same room. And when I know that they're asleep, that is when it comes. I normally used to keep my phone close to me because if I wake up and I see the darkness, gosh, I'll just, it's as if I'll just have heart attack because I feel, okay, this small light, the 10% of light out of 100 that I could see was gone. And that even made it worse. And at a point, I started thinking of taking my own life because I felt, how will I continue like that? I never really accepted it. I must tell you, I never did. The whole of 2020 was terrible. I know my family might listen to this and be surprised, but it's true. And I had to call a friend, the same friend that recommended me for the first program that I participated in. His name is David. And I told him, David, I'm dying. I told him I was dying and I needed someone that I could talk to, someone that was not in my family, someone I don't know. Even though I studied counseling, it sounds very funny because someone will tell me I'm supposed to counsel myself. I studied counseling, but it's not true. I really needed that help. I needed to talk to someone. I was going crazy. So he recommended a therapist for me, and I secretly went to see the person. My family did not even know. So I went and I saw the lady, and I just wanted someone to listen to me. And I told her my fears. I told her I felt I was not going to be anything. I was going to be very, very dependent. It was going to be stress my family. How do I start? I was already going through rehabilitation, but I did not even I do not even believe in that rehabilitation. They will tell us at the rehabilitation that when you learn the braille, you will still be able to function in the family. I just felt they were lying and they were just talking. So I needed to talk to someone, and he recommended the therapist. I went, I spoke to the lady, and I think I felt much better. She encouraged me, but still, I did not really accept it. It was 2021, January. I remember that. I really, really accepted that okay, I was a person with disability, but that life was not over. I have to live my life back.
Right. So I was going to jump in to say, so how did you transit from someone who had a site and could menstruate and manage her menstruation or her period to somebody who's lost her sight? I mean, I think that's even more difficult when you have to transit from having your sight to not having it again. So how do you deal with your period now? Because you have to do it yourself and you can't see it.
Yes. It was okay. So losing my sight was like a learning process. I had to unlearn what I've learned and relearn what I did not know. And coping with it was not easy at first because like my period now, I'm someone that has premenstrual pains for like days before it starts. So even when it starts, most of the time is when I could see, I'll see that oh, it has started. But this now, I had to learn how to know that okay, it has started. I know, when it starts at first, sometimes it might not be as damp as you think. It might not rush out immediately like that. So
Right.
yeah, so I think I had to use my fingers to actually feel like I had to learn. So now I think I'm an expert in it. When it starts, I just know.
I would think it would be the smell because it smells. You just know in a peculiar way, not in a bad way.
Yes, yeah, it does actually. So, yeah, you can use your nose for that because when you lose your sight, your other senses are heightened. So I perceive a lot. So yes, I still use my nose to know when I've started sometimes.
Right. So let's come to what you do for those with disabilities as well. You're a community mobilizer and you have a project whereby you give to the community sanitary pads and all. Talk to us briefly about it.
Okay. Well, I don't losing my sight. I just wanted to do something, give back to the people, the other persons with disabilities, especially those that are going through a lot of discrimination. And I started with the School for the Blind Children, Gindri. I stayed there for a year with those students, and these students are from homes where they are not loved, discriminated. No one cares about, how they fare and all. And I brought my friends together, organized a small program. I said, okay, everybody should contribute something. We did. We got sanitary pads for the girls because I noticed they were using at this age and time, they still use pieces. Those are like clothes that they cut like
Clothes.
wrappers. Yes, it really, really touched me because I felt, wow, at this age and time, people still use that. But that's what they do. That's what they use. Some of them just use, they don't even use anything. They just use their pants and they say they don't have heavy flow. Some of them get stained and they don't even know because they can't see. So that was what really prompted me to going into doing something for them, giving back to those students, telling the community about them, making sure that people contribute and we go there and spend time with them. We also got toiletries and food stuff for the children.
Right. Well done, Awashima. Of course, I promised that we're going to support what you do in Jos. We're going to be sending some of the products we have on the set right now to you and your friends out there in Jos. Well done on all that you do. Right. If you had 3 minutes to be with the president of this country, what would you say to him about living with disability and coping with menstruation?
I would tell him to remember the community of women with disabilities. The truth is, it's like the government has forgotten about, women with disabilities in Nigeria. So many persons with disabilities are from poor backgrounds, poor families. If only the government can come and do something for these women, make them remember that, hey, they have a government, there's someone out there that cares for them. If the government can provide for them, can provide all these sanitary pads for these ladies, it would be amazing. That was just one school out of a plenty. I'm sure there are others that are in villages that don't even go to school. They don't even know. And using all those materials and pieces, imagine the level of infections they could get, how they can be stained, how smelly they could get. I remember sometimes I had to give some of them my body spray or perfume to use because they don't know. Like some of them don't even know what is pad. I had to get volunteers to teach them how to even wear those pads on their pants. And imagine the government keys into this. This would be very, very amazing for them to teach them so many things and to make Nigeria even better.
It will make Nigeria even better. I like that. Now, for those who have visual impairment, who've totally lost their sight, I suppose that they will need caregivers to help with their periods. Have you been using one, or you just found your way somehow?
No, we are very smart. I must commend the visually impaired community. We adapt very, very easily. It's not hard as long as you're close to a place where there's enough water and you have the sanitary pad, then that is it. And you know your flow. You know that okay, I have a heavy flow, I have a light flow. You know the sanitary pad that works for you. Then you're good to go. You don't even need caregivers. The only people that I'll be very I'll say maybe they need at a point, which is just to teach them how to use it, how to dispose of it, are those ones in schools, in primary schools, in special schools, in the villages that are not exposed to all these things. Once there is water, there is soap where they could take their bath. And if these caregivers could teach them, okay, this is how you wear it, take your bath, do this and do that, then I think they are good to go. They can also be teaching others. They don't even need caregivers all the time.
Right. The smile on your face is so infectious. I quickly took a glance at the rest of the crew here. Everybody had a smile on their faces. This is just so interesting, so inspirational. You're such an inspiring woman to be with and to speak with. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming on the program. What exactly do you do in your office? I know people are curious to know.
Oh, in my office, I'm the Inclusion, Diversity, and Disability Desk Officer. I'm a facilitator, which is hard for people to believe because how will a visually impaired person be facilitating? I facilitate. I'm a project person. I also mobilize. I also make sure that every project carried out in the organization is inclusive for women, especially persons with disabilities, and especially women with disabilities. That's just a summary.
Oh wow. I am so enthralled. Your disposition is so pleasant. Even, on screen. It's just amazing. I see why Kaneng said I just must meet Awashima. It's been
She's an amazing boss.
it's enriching getting to know you and speak with you on my period stories today. Thank you so very much for making out time to be here. Our promise stands. We're going to be sending you as many, maybe about 150 reusable pads for your community over there in Jos. And yes, we'll be also be sending along with it this pillow. with my period stories written on it. It's for you especially. So when you hold it, it's yellow. It's yellow and especially for you. So when you get it, you'll always remember that we love you here. We are inspired by your courage, your strength, and the fact that you discovered yourself and you went along with it and you're doing very well. This smile, I'll never forget it. Thank you
so much. I'm sure if I could see yours, it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I don't know how you do it with your phone, but chatting with you on WhatsApp, nobody will know anything was wrong with your site. I don't even know how you do it. How do you do that?
There's technology. There are accessible technologies. I chat even more than normal people, trust me.
Right.
I use my laptops. In fact, I'm learning how to build an app right now. I just joined the Microsoft community and I would really like to build an app. So there's nothing technology cannot do. I can do everything basically. Trust me. It's just that I can't see it, but thank God for technology. And the one on the phone, it's on phones now. I'm sure even on your phone, it's there. It's called Talkback, but please don't put it on because you will look for me to tell you how to put it on. I use my ears to operate my phone basically. It talks back to me everything. So I can type, I can chat,
Right.
I can use the Excel and everything. Yeah.
Okay, Awashima Atu has been our guest on this second part of the show today. We've been talking about girls and women living with disabilities and how they cope with their periods. And it's been a joy having Awashima with us on the show. Thank you once again. Thank you so very much for making that time to be here.
Thanks.
To say a really big thank you to the sanitary pad scholarship because it really helps me a lot. Before I got the sanitary pad, I normally use clothes, but immediately after getting the scholarship pad, I use it every day and I take it to school. In case I find my menstruation in school, I will just quickly go to the toilet and change. I want to say a very big thank you to the scholarship pad.
When they gave us the sanitary pad, my parents was even happy because they never think that they can even give us, and the thing even helped me a lot. I normally change 4 times in a day. So I'd like to say thank you.
I benefit from it because I was able to share some of the pads with my friends. Some of them, like, they don't really have the money to buy pad. Some of them will be like, they are using tissue and that is not good. Like my mom is always telling me, it's not good to use tissue because you can get infection and it's not good for the body. So like when you gave us the scholarship, I was really happy. I could share it with my sisters, my friend, and some of my rehearsal mates. That's why I would like to tell you thank you, ma.
My first day that I saw my menstruation, I was like afraid. That day I was in school. I was like, I told my friend that, what's that now? Please, I don't know what, I can't even stand up to go buy food. I was afraid, I was ashamed. My friend went to go look for a sweater for me, so that day I used sweater and tight my waist. Even closing time got 7. I was afraid to go home because like all my friends would be looking at me like, what is this, that thing. I was like, but now when I have the sanitary pad now, I used to carry the sanitary pad inside my bag and I'm going to school because it can come any day.
The pad really helped me because when I do not have money to buy it, I'll be like, where will I see money? And it's not easy to ask your parents. Like I'm always shy to ask them. But since gave us a scholarship for the pad, I'm happy.
Surprising, isn't it? The many things that Awashima can do without her sight. The fact that losing her sight made her discover herself. I'm going to be thinking about that for days after now. I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of My Period Stories with me, Funke Treasure. Until next week, be good.